Hello and welcome to Dutch Ijsdans Diaries with Ashley Foyterfort and Jill Bakker. In today's episode, we will look at the past, the present, and the future of Dutch ice dance. In the first part of the episode, we go to a training at the Den Bosch Ice Club, and we interview two of the board members to get some idea of what the past and the history up until now is of their ice dance club. We also talk about Dutch ice dance in general and what the possibilities have been up until now. In the second and more significantly long part of the episode today, we have an in-depth conversation with Marie Louise Gijtenbeek. Marie Louise is a former Dutch ice dance champion at the senior level, and she is an ISU technical specialist. She has called at events such as the Grand Prix final and the World Championships. So we gain a lot of insight on this episode, and we hope that you enjoy it.
All right, guys. Well, welcome. We are here today. We have Jan and Roos. Sorry if I mispronounced your names at all. If you guys wouldn't mind, please introducing yourselves. If you could tell us who you are and your experience in ice dancing, please.
Yeah, well.
Ladies first.
Do you start?
Okay. Well, as a child, I gave really the expression that I could skate very well, that I was talented, but I just skated on frozen waters because there were no ice rinks. And then later on, when I was married, I was about 26, and I started to skate so now and then in a hall in The Hague, and then that I stopped again. Probably I was 38, something like that. And then I had 4 children, I had a ballet school, and then my husband died, and we came to live here in the neighborhood. And then an old friend of me when I was a young girl, and he was a young boy, introduced me to come to the Ijsdans club. Mm-hmm. And it was for me absolutely new. I only knew Sonja Henie.
Yes.
Have you heard of Sonja Henie? Well, that kind of skating, that was our dream skating. And Ijsdans, I'd never heard of it. But then I came here about 2000, I think. Okay. And then it was very difficult for me to like it, to love it. But then after, I think about a year, I saw the trainer, our very famous trainer, Peter Moorman. Uh-huh. And he asked Jan, because he was not skating with a partner at that time, that we should go together. And that's what we did. And so he
said... What year was that?
It was, I think, 2002?
Must have been 2003.
Three. It's, I don't know. But then
20 years.
Yeah.
Let's hear now about Jan. What is your experience with ice dancing? How did you start, and how did you come to be here at the club with Roos?
I could rather good skate on hockey skates, on nature ice also. And then when I finished my study and I had to go for military service, and after that I went to the ice rink with my hockey skates, and there were other people. Those people were a member of the ice dancing club in Den Haag. Yeah. And they said, Jan, come on with us an evening, have a look what we are doing. Yeah. So I went on my hockey skates for the first time to the Nederlandse Ijsdans Club, and I saw them going. There was a big club then. Okay. Wow. And right away I went to the shop and bought other skates. Yeah, ice dance skates.
Do you wear ice dance blades or freestyle blades?
First I didn't know then. I was not good informed. So I had the wrong blades. But later I bought ice dance blades, inderdaad. Yeah, indeed.
So what year was that you started ice dance?
Must have been, I started at 77, I think. So that must be 78, 79. And well, I was for 20 years, more than 20 years, a member of the Nederlandse Ijsdans Club in Den Haag. It was trained by Peter Moorman for more than 20 years.
So at what point did you go from the Nederlands Ijsdans Club to Den Bosch? When did that switch?
The Nederlandse Ijsdans Club became smaller and smaller. Mm-hmm. And on a certain moment there were only 3 men there. And then it more or less collapsed, and I didn't like it anymore. Mm. So I was looking around for other options.
Mm-hmm. Do you mind me asking how old you are now?
No, you can ask me.
How old are you? If you don't mind sharing.
Well, we are
with us.
preparing, all my children are preparing now my 90th birthday, which is next month.
Wow,
Yeah, I'm from
congratulations.
33, yeah.
That is so inspirational to see that you were on the ice at that age and that you are so fit and that you're doing so well. But the Cha-Cha Congelado,
Yeah.
I'm 33. I skated that dance at Junior Worlds. I don't think I would have the stamina to do a good Cha-Cha Congelado now. So I can imagine it's not very easy for you to do the dances you want
Yeah,
to
some
do.
dances they go, and other dances, what's that step? What, is that a cross? Is that a cha-cha? What is it? What is it? And you cannot dance then, because if you don't are sure, and you skate together, that's impossible. So then you mustn't do it.
And so the Den Bosch Ice Club, it started, Ice Dance Club, when did it start? Which year was that?
On our website, there's a nice page that describes the history.
Yes.
There was a group. I was not there, of course, because I was in the west of Holland.
Yeah, and you came later.
Yeah.
So
That's it. We have at the moment, we still have 40 members. However, at the moment, there's no balance anymore between men and women.
Yeah.
And that 10 years ago, there was more or less a balance.
Yeah.
And that's a pity. A lot of men became older, they stopped for different reasons. Yeah, that's a pity. So we need men.
This is very funny because yesterday we interviewed Jeroen Prins, you know, the judge, and the main point that we came out of that conversation with was, he said, boys, boys, boys.
Yeah.
We need the boys.
Yeah.
And now we hear, we need the men.
Yeah.
What do you think that can be done to get more men interested in the sport, in ice dance?
That's difficult. Men are not willing to come to the dance, the normal dance competitions on the floor.
Yeah,
ballroom dance. Yeah. They also have a shortage of men, always.
It's just
men
not
are
seen.
not willing to do that.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah,
is there
I don't
something
know. I never understood. Because I like it, to skate in the music.
Yeah.
I skated almost all my life, of course. When I started at the Nederlandse Ijsdans Club, I did every week, twice a week. And an important factor in my life.
Yeah, he is very talented to skate, how he skates. Really unbelievable. Yeah.
But I like to move on the music, to do the pattern dances. I'm not so interested in do very difficult things.
No,
like
that's
what's nowadays done, that they have to make 5 twizzles. That has nothing to do with ice dancing, in our opinion. We look back to the 80s, Betty Calloway, maybe you heard her name?
I've heard the name.
Jimmy Young,
their
system,
of course,
and then they had a certain system where they stand, body position open, counter body position, and that was a system that was correct. That that clicked.
Yeah.
And that's a bit left now. When you look to a rhythm dance, I see so many acrobatics.
Yes.
And I think, what are they doing? That's, in my opinion, that's not ice dancing. That's not the flow in the music. And then sometimes they have terrible music.
Music is always subjective, but it's very different.
This is maybe our age. Well, we like the music of last century.
The Bosch Ice Club, to me, is coming back to the reason that people start skating in the first place. So I hope that the club will continue to run. You've mentioned that it has fewer members. Do you think that they will continue at least for the next year? Is it strong enough? Will you guys continue as a club?
Yes. We have a lot of members. We have 40 members. That's a large club.
Good.
But many ladies and not so many men.
But do you think that the club can adapt to that? Can they maybe with solo dancing, or is there some way?
They do, but it's not fun.
Now, I wanted to ask you guys about ice dance in the Netherlands. We now have 2 ice dance teams that compete at the world level. We have Chelsea and Sherim, Hannah and Alessio. What do you think about this, that we now have teams in ice dancing going to the World Championships?
Yeah, okay, it's very nice that they
we
can
know
join.
them since a very long time.
But
Chelsea.
I like it very much that we join it again.
Yeah,
we have competitors over there.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time ago. We had
a long time without a world championship competing team, no?
Yeah. That's great, but compared to the top level, we are nowhere. But we are there.
It's a start.
It's fantastic,
right?
Yeah.
It's a start, and hopefully it will encourage some skaters.
Again, it's something different than what we do in the club with our pattern dances.
Yeah.
I think we had sometimes lessons from Sherim.
Oh yeah.
He's a very good teacher.
That's good for Dutch ice dancing.
He's a very good teacher. He is so calm and takes the very necessary steps how to do them. Mm-hmm. And he's not, what do you call it, running all over. No, he starts and it is so efficient what he does. Mm. It's really fantastic.
That's really good to hear, because then we can have hope that there will be somebody who stays in the Netherlands and builds some kind of culture and training here. So
I hope that he will continue to. Yeah.
Could you guys both tell me who is your all-time favorite ice dance team?
For me, that's Jane Torville and Christopher D.
Yes.
The time of Betty Calloway and Jimmy Young.
Yes.
And how they had their flow in the music on the ice.
Yeah. Is there anything that you guys would like to add that we didn't talk about, or that you think is important to say about either the club or ice dance in general, or to anyone who's thinking about starting ice dance, the young skaters that might be listening, or the older skaters, of course?
Yeah, it's very healthy for your body.
They are there.
Yeah,
so he says it's the most beautiful thing to do for your body.
I love that. It's the most beautiful thing to do for your body.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much for taking the time to answer my questions.
Yeah.
And,
you're welcome.
I look forward to going on the ice now with you guys.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, Marie Louise. Thank you so much for coming here on our show to talk about Dutch ice dancing. Jill and I have asked you here because of your expertise in ice dancing as an ISU specialist, but also as a former Dutch national ice dance champion. So we were hoping to get some background information about ice dance in the Netherlands. Could you please highlight some of our previous ice dance teams and give us a bit of the background of ice dancing here in the Netherlands?
Well, I can tell you when I started ice dancing, Peter Moorman was the coach at that time. Actually, he was one of the bonds coaches, and he had teams like Hans het Hart and Anita Shaduri, and he also had Joanna Neerde, and before that he did ice dance himself, and he had Kim and Edwin at that time. And then he started asking people like me and Xander, and also my brother Christian with Tabitha, to start doing ice dance. And there were a few. There was a center, and we were in Jong Oranje at that time, and that's how it started. That's how I actually started doing ice dance.
Okay.
And then.
So he had a center where he had several ice dance teams in the Netherlands.
Yeah, no, he tried to make it visible. Mm-hmm. He used to travel around, and Christina Rogucci, who was at that time one of the compared to the seminar with Michael Webster, like an ISU development coach, he used to come here to give seminars. Mm-hmm. And Xander and I actually went also to seminars where she went to. So we went abroad for that. We also went abroad for other countries as well, but at that time she was like what Michael Webster did with us in April.
Okay, so for some idea of the time frame, around when was Peter Moorman running his ice dance camp training center here in the Netherlands?
Somewhere around the 90s, early 2000s, but then he stopped. It had nothing to do with ice dance. That had to do with his job, because there were he had to choose between his job, and then it was too difficult for him to keep being a coach. So he decided to be at his job, and therefore I think Kim and Edwin at that time stopped skating. Xander and I did continue, and then we had to go abroad a lot. We went to England, to Germany. So,
because I remember
and then
you already did ice dancing when I was 7, 8 years old. You were already doing it with Sander in the shows. So that must have been 97, something, 98, I think.
Yeah.
So there was you and your brother, so Marie Louise Gijtenbeek and Gijtenbeek, and then you had Kim and Edwin, their senior team, or were they junior?
We're juniors. Kim and Edwin were juniors, like you, Jill. You never went to senior, right?
No.
But Kim and Edwin also only did junior. Well, only, it's not only, but they did junior. It's and then but at that time when I started skating, so around that period, Hans het Hart and Anita Shaduri actually went to Europeans for that period. With Monique van der Velde, Marcus.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the 90s then we had at least one junior team and 2 senior teams at a national, international level. Is that right?
Xander and I went to senior when we were 2000. So before that, it was we were juniors with Kim and Edwin, and Tabitha had Christian, but we also had Christian with Ariana van Heusden. Marjolein skated with Christian for a very short while, and we had Tabitha with, what was his name? Oscar.
I can't remember because I was very young, but I know Tabitha.
Yeah.
Okay, so in our recent history, at least, we had a training center in the Netherlands in the 90s, maybe up to early 2000s.
Then you guys continued, and then I started ice dancing, and then Jan and I started in 2005. So that's when we left off, actually.
Okay, so we're looking at the recent history of Dutch ice dancing. We had a kind of a Dutch-based training center with a few teams under the leadership of Peter Moorman in the 90s. And then in the early 2000s, we still had Marie Louise competing, and Jill started with her partner, Jan Hubner. But just like Marie Louise, you went to Germany and the UK, I believe, to train. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then Jill went to Germany, of course. Of course. That's how I met you. And that was what we had up until, I guess you stopped in
2008.
2008.
Yeah, at least. And then I continued in 2009 in America with Sasha. But that we didn't really compete internationally. That was senior level. And and then from there, it kind of
we look at 2010 until I would want to say 2016, 17. We had no teams at all, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, there was one team, but they were only Vicky, but they were only actually no, they practiced in the States, I think, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
I'm sorry. Who?
Vicky de Boon.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know this. Is that a skater? Or
yeah. She skated in America, I think. Yeah.
Oh, and did they compete at all?
That I don't know.
They did. They competed at nationals because I was in their panel. At one point, I was in your panel, Jill.
Really? Oh, I don't remember that.
But this was, I think, when you started skating for in America.
I think so. Yeah, that must have been the end of my.
Yeah, that's when I started becoming an ISU tech spec.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So if we look at the period between 2008-ish to 2016, 2017, there was maybe this one.
Yeah. I think, I don't know of anybody else really.
Okay. And in terms of coaches in that period in the Netherlands, did we have any Dutch ice dance coaches since Peter Moorman stepped back? Did we have anyone trying to do ice dance in that period?
Eerde, right?
Maybe
Eerde.
Yeah.
Eerde. I don't know if Joanne does anything. She did do something in The Hague at Ijsdans.
Oh yeah. Ijsdans. Yeah, Ijsdans is originally, I thought, an ice dancing club, right? Yeah.
Correct. And Bill there with BKV.
BKV is
the Bosch Ijsdans Club. I mean, actually, not BKV.
The Ijsdans Club. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we actually had the chance to interview them, and we got some of the history. And before Den Bosch Ice Dance Club, I think there was also in The Hague, the Hague Ice Dance Club or something.
Nederlandse Ijsdans Club.
Nederlandse Ice Dance Club.
Still
right
taught. Yeah.
Yeah, but that no longer exists, if I'm not
No,
mistaken.
from this year on, it's
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
unfortunately, because that was a shame. There was a few ice dancers left that were really good, so it was a shame actually. But yeah.
Okay. So now let's have a look at our current teams. We have 2 senior ice dance teams. As far as I'm aware, do we have a third that I don't know about, maybe, or a fourth?
No, we have 2, right?
Well, not to my knowledge. I mean,
All right. So we have the 2 seniors and no juniors, as far as I'm aware.
no. And we have a few. We are forgetting some of our adult couples, like Klaas and Jasperina.
Yes,
And
of course. Yeah.
Jeroen and Karin, and even Peter skated with Lisette.
Lisette, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yes. So now we are focusing right now on top sport. We've been discussing Marie Louise, Jill, and some of the teams, Chelsea and Sherim, Hannah and Alessio. But along the way, we've also had adult teams,
for sure.
as well as what we have in the Netherlands called the category, which is kind of in between adults and top sport. Would you like to maybe mention some of those teams that you know of? We know of some, of course, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know everyone, because I think a lot of them are in Den Bosch, but the ones that were competing for sure were Klaas and Jasperina, Jeroen and Karin, Peter and Lisette, and then of course Toos always tries to do some solo dance.
Oh
yeah. Toos is on some at the Oberstdorf Adult Championships. We've had some.
Yes.
Klaas and Jasperina together, Jasperina solo, Toos solo.
I think everyone goes to Oberstdorf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
everyone goes to Oberstdorf.
I was actually in that competition. It's such a fun competition for the adults. It really is.
Yeah, it's a fun training center anyway to be around. So
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think when we talk about ice dance in the Netherlands, at least us with Marie Louise as an ISU technical specialist, Jill as coaches, former top sport athletes, we maybe focus a lot on the top sport teams, but we have, I think, a pretty healthy adult ice dance here in the Netherlands.
We do, actually.
And they skate really well too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually a shame it's not visible that much. And it would be
what it is. But we don't have adult competitions, so you can't really show.
Actually, it's in the communication now. In the specifieke bepalingen, adult competitions are now added in.
Okay, great. Yeah, but that's the first time in history, maybe.
No, actually, it was in. To be honest, I put it in with Peter, Jeroen, and Klaas before COVID started.
Oh, okay.
And I also put it solo dance in the regulations with those before COVID started. We had meetings to try to, when we were trying to get more ice dance couples coming out, like coming up. I mean, not coming out, but you never know.
You don't know. Yeah.
Now, well, that brings up an interesting point.
It
there could be some same-gender teams in the future. We will see what ISU does and what the Dutch Federation does.
Yeah.
You know, have you heard of any maybe Canadian teams? Because Canada
already has it.
They've already implemented the rule change that it can be just 2 skaters. But
I know they're working on it. I will see a lot of the people from the ISU soon, because I have a few competitions coming up. I'm hoping to get more information in.
Yeah, I think it would be a great solution, especially here in Holland, where we don't always have enough boys. And if you do want a partner, you have to move to another country. Not everyone has their brother to skate with, you know.
I know.
You're very lucky in that sense. But yeah, I think that could be a great solution. Even if it's just shadowing each other. It doesn't have to be full-on ice dancing for me. It could also be just shadowing and having really nice moves together. Maybe.
True, but also we talked about this already, you and me, Ashley, about solo dance, and then making after the solo dance, making tryouts possible, so people can start finding each other.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. But we first have to start with solo dance and get more people excited about ice dancing just in general to make this even bigger.
I think it's a misconception that the rules are not there, because the rules are there. I used to implement the British rules. That's what I used to tell the federation to do. So, and we could copy that. But I think also because it's not known, it needs to be visible. And I think this is something from the Verhaegh group that we are trying to implement is something to get off the ground. Because if people start seeing that they can do it,
right,
then
that's why this podcast, I think, was born as well.
Yes.
In the sense of how can we enthuse more people about ice dancing in Holland, and so that's why we wanted to start this up anyway.
Yeah, we hope that people are going to listen and learn about the discipline of ice dance, not just the skaters, that maybe they'll come to the board members in the club or their coaches and say, hey, do we have any ice dance options? But that they start to look at maybe the emails that are sent out from the SBK, from the federation, about possible workshops and seminars, and coaches themselves who maybe have done a little bit of dance or who are interested in learning about dance, that they go ahead and they do that and they join some of these workshops, and that they go to competitions. We do have some that exist.
We do,
like Marie Louise's club in Hoorn. Every year you have a dance competition. So that, could you also tell the listeners who aren't aware?
Because I started this up for solo dance before COVID, but then with the problems of COVID, I had to restart it. So it's actually a competition for every level, for ISU to recreational to adults to solo dance. And I've been having guests from Denmark, from France, from Germany, from the UK. So that's great.
Yeah. When is it? Is it every year in the spring, or is it in the beginning of the season?
No, it's always in the spring, because the solo dance rules come out a little later normally, especially in the UK. But there's another thing. The ISU has been working on getting international rules for solo dance. So hopefully, and I've been in a working group for that, and I know that they are trying to implement it. So hopefully those rules will come out soon as well.
Yeah, that will advance the sport a lot, I think.
Yeah. Well, the idea behind it was like, because I've been, as a specialist, I've been going to different countries like Denmark, like the UK, but they had their different rules. And then at one point we were saying it's difficult, because if you want to do international competitions, even if these girls and sometimes even boys can't find a partner, and still they want to do some international competitions to also get experience in that way, then it's easier if the rules are similar.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it's a great opportunity, like you said, to start matching at solo competitions as well, if the skaters want to continue with a partner. Yeah.
Exactly. Actually, there are a few teams, Sasha Veer, for example, that came out of solo dance.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and I think we saw some of those examples from the UK this past season at your competition. We had some really nice UK perform, and I think some from some of the other countries as well. I just remember some of the British ice dancers, and I thought, those were some really impressive solo performances.
There were really nice ones, actually. Yeah, true.
Yeah,
and I know they've been doing it in the States for a long time.
Yeah. Before I moved to the Netherlands, I moved here in 2014. We had a few boys, and most of the boys that we had would choose their partners from the solo dance circuit, because you would really be able to see, and we had our boys in between partners also compete in solo dance, so that they could go there and see for themselves, keep up their skills themselves, because that's important, that you don't just partner, but that you have your own solo skating skills. And some of those skaters, I mean, we had Avonlea win at Katarina Delkamp. These are junior Grand Prix, senior, national, international. Molly Sesenak started. We got her from solo dance from Katrina Shalin, and I mean, we're talking about skaters doing Grand Prix and in the top.
Actually, I was in the technical panel at Junior Worlds in 2020, just before COVID started. And the American Championships that won that competition, the girl came from solo dance.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's really an avenue for our Dutch skaters to find a base. And even if that's all you decide to do, if you don't ever find a partner or don't want to find a partner, that solo dance in itself
is a sport, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And if it is your goal to find a partner at some point, solo dance is the way to get into it and get those skills, see if you like it, and get yourself, seen by potential
make
partners.
a comeback.
Or to make a
as
comeback.
an adult skater. Just
Are you announcing your comeback
It sounds exciting. I
at Oberstdorf?
No, but it sounds exciting. I think I'll try it. Why not?
Yeah.
It's so fun. Yeah.
I think that's really a potential area for our Dutch ice dancers in the future to grow and to excel and to grow the discipline in the country as well.
Yeah.
Now, Marie Louise, you are also a coach as well as a technical specialist. Can you tell us about your current skaters or training group? Do you do any ice dance there at all? Do you have any skaters that are potentially interested in ice dancing, or do they mostly want to do something else?
Well, I think one of the problems is as a technical specialist, I have conflicts, so that's a little tricky. I do actually try to teach ice dance, and it's more recreational at the moment. It's not that I don't want to, but it's more convenient this way at this moment in time.
Yeah.
So, well, if they're interested, we'll see.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say any names, and maybe they don't want to, so I'll be careful with that.
Yeah,
right.
But I know that probably in your teaching you will include ice dance technique anyway, even if they do skate solo.
No, I do also I do some of the pattern dances. I do twizzle. I do elements that we have in ice dance. It's absolutely true, and hopefully it will catch on. And but as an ice specialist, it's complicated to have teams and be a tech spec, because then you be in all the competitions. So
maybe it's a bit impossible. You can't do everything here, and But how did you get into that technical specialist? Because I know you said that you started when I was still skating, so that must have been 2007, 2008, something like that.
It was a little later, because I think it was when you were skating with actually Tineke was at that time the chair of the section, and she asked me to go to France.
Yes.
That's how it started. It was because at that time I think we started with IJS. When IJS started was around Torino. So. And then, but then it wasn't immediately. And then afterwards, she asked me to go to Frankfurt, and I went to Frankfurt and had to do a few exams, very exhausting.
Just a few little exams, no stress.
It's to be honest, it's a very stressful week, but also very.
It's worth it.
It's good memory, good learning experience, and made lots and lots of friends.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So what has been your highlight as being a technical specialist in the ice dance field? What was your most memorable experience in that?
I've had 3 championships now, because for a specialist for technical panel, Grand Prix final is also a championship. So I did Junior Worlds in 2020. Then 2022 I did Worlds. So I think that's the most memorable. With in France, in Montreal, with the French skating there, and it was overwhelming. When we had to do the reviews, we had headsets on, but we couldn't even hear each other. We had to switch it up and speak as loudly as possible. So that was an amazing experience, and it was right after everything that was closed down and people could come back in. And the lines, if you went into the stadium, you could see the lines people standing out there. It was amazing to be able to see that.
Yeah. And I think it's amazing that we have a technical specialist from Holland in the ice dance field. It's great to not just be on the ice, but also to be involved off the ice and with federations and with the officials, to just be there and represent our country anyway. Either way possible, right? On the ice or off ice.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing with Worlds, what happened was it was so warm, it was so friendly. All the teams were applauding for each other, and it was just amazing to be there.
Yeah, so cool.
And then last year I also went to Grand Prix final, so that was also actually special.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And now I already have a few on my list, so hopefully.
Tell us more. Where are you going?
Well, I have to be careful because you never know what happens. But I'm planning to go to the first Junior Grand Prix in Thailand.
Oh,
Wow. Well, I hope that works out. That
Yeah.
sounds like an interesting competition.
Yeah, is there an ice rink there? Why good?
I don't know.
No.
I've never do they generally hold international competitions in Thailand? It's the first I've heard
I
of
think
one.
it's the first one I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was surprised too.
Yeah. But it's a great, that'd be wonderful if you could go there. That'd be great.
I think it's sport in general when we get new countries and federations willing to participate and, not just sticking to the
Traditional,
traditional settings. Yeah. Because hopefully we'll reach more fans in all different places around the world.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the Netherlands, though, I mean, we've talked a bit about the adult scene, the past scene, all the top skaters or teams we've had, as well as some of the solo dance options that are, up and coming and have already started. We also have two very good or, world class, so to say, earning points for worlds or Europeans teams here in the Netherlands. Currently, we have, and you guys have to correct me since I'm a naturalized citizen. My pronunciation is probably all wrong, but Chelsea Verhaegh and Sherim van Geffen.
So it's good.
It's good enough. And now Hannah Jacus and Alessio Galli. I don't know if I'm saying those right either. But I'm going to put the floor to both of you guys. I'm interested, as you guys both being Dutch born and from Dutch families, how does it feel to have two ice dance teams from the Netherlands representing us internationally?
Well, I'm super excited. Yeah. I'm super excited. I think this is what I've dreamed of when I was, skating myself. I wish I could have continued. So yeah, that they are doing this and that we have two teams at the same time, for me, amazing. I'm so happy. Yeah.
Well, it's good because actually this has been there before. When I started skating with Xander when we were novice and stuff like that, that's when we had Joanne and Eerda, Hansen, Anita, and so on. So it's good to see it back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there need to be more couples.
Yes, but I think they inspire as well because we've talked to them and they're super nice and they're so in love with this sport and they seem to have a really good relationship within the partnerships. So I mean, yeah, it's just really nice and inspirational to have them on the ice also in Holland. If other people see them skate or skate with them on the ice, it can inspire others to ice dancing.
No. And we've had recently as well, when we talk about, I guess I don't know if this would be top sport only because it was more what we call in Dutch brede sport, but it had some top sport elements. We had a 3-weekend workshop seminar series with ISU visiting coach Michael Webster. So that happened in, I think, when was that again? April and May?
April. Beginning of April. End of April, beginning of May.
Okay. So I only attended one day out of all of the days, I think, or was it 2 days? I think 2 days I attended maybe with 6 total.
There were 6 total. I only was there on all Saturdays because I couldn't do Sundays because then I had my own club with skating with, and it was not possible to change that. So unfortunately, I was only there on the Saturdays, but I was there all 3 weekends for the Saturdays. And it was really great. It was good to see Michael so enthusiastic, and the people enthusiastic, seeing Eerda enthusiastic, seeing even, because there were some of the adult skaters that we have there, but also seeing people like Carola and Lotte there, and seeing people, Hannah was there, Mireille was there, that are actually not having a background in our sport like the 3 of us do, but still wanting to learn about it. So
right, that's important. Was this the first time that we had like an international coach come in for an ice dance?
No, it's been done before. As I said, when I was skating, Christina Rakucci used to come. But that's been such a long time ago.
I was about to say, I had never experienced this in my skating career, and what I did experience when I skated was that when Michin always came over to Termeer, for solos.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, but we missed that in ice dancing, I think, to have this yearly like really intense international.
No, it was there when I started somewhere in the 90s, but then after Peter stopped, I think somehow the drive maybe went out to people doing that for the Ijsdans people as well.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I think, a big hit for Dutch ice dancing.
I mean,
when
if it's a
Peter-
success, we should do this like every year.
Oh,
right?
yeah. No, so Michael Webster was a big hit, but what I mean is also when Peter Mormon stopped being so involved, that was a big hit, like in a bad way for us.
Yeah.
But now I've been here for 10 years, almost 9-10 years, and I didn't see anything coming from the Federation in terms of supporting ice dance. So to see something like this,
Really great,
supported by the Federation, a lot of it being, guided under Jeroen Prins, also, trying to promote ice dancing, and us having an ISU specialist in Marie Louise who has called at Worlds and all kinds of top level competitions. I think we might start seeing a change now. We start seeing a little bit more support from the Federation, and for the skaters also to see that, hey, look, we've got some teams, we've got specialists, we've got judges, we have coaches even. We may not have a training center like Peter Mormon had back in the 90s, but
we're getting there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And more coaches came to the Michael Webster seminars and learned a lot of the basics they would have otherwise not known.
Yeah.
And if more coaches around the whole country can learn the basics, and then maybe a few who are a little bit more specialized can continue with the more advanced skaters, or we can at least have skaters that maybe could go abroad and pick up some more there. I think that the future looks bright for Dutch ice dancing.
I think so.
What do you think?
Yeah, I hope so. I think we need to make sure that it keeps going that way, and we all need to keep our enthusiasm active and make people want to do it. So
exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we're setting the right example, right? So
I think so. Hope so.
Yeah.
What is your advice for skaters that are looking into or interested in starting ice dancing? Let's say a typical Dutch ice skater probably doesn't have any access to an ice dance coach or lessons in their club with ice dancing. What would you recommend to that skater that's saying, hey, I would like to try that?
Well, as you know, all the pattern dances are available online, so it's easy to find out about the pattern dances. That's the first step, and then I would actually start with trying to find out the solo dance rules. And as long as there's no ISU communication about solo dance, why not just go to the British website and from the UK and copy that? Or I think it's less easy to find from the States, because I think that's more protected.
I don't know, because I have access to all of the judging and coaching paperwork, so I can find it with us. But I think they do have at least a certain amount on their announcements for competition announcements, and there are certain rules and regulations that you can find. It might be a few more steps, though. It's always, like me, when I first started coaching here, finding things on the KNSB website was
hard.
Not just the language barrier, but just understanding where and how things are shared can be tricky. So it's always easier with a coach or with a board member from your club if they understand.
Yeah.
But that is something that we hope to share. Marie Louise is working behind the scenes and also openly to engage more skaters in the discipline, and we are doing the podcast, but also involved. You coach and choreograph as well. You have Karen and Jeroen who you are choreographing for, and Marie Louise coaches and calls, and I do a bit of all of that as well. So we will be continuing to update here on the developments. This is very much a in development, exciting time for ice dance.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Shall we ask our question that we always do? Go ahead and ask it.
Should I ask it this time? Okay, we have one question that we ask all of our guests, and that is, who is your top favorite all-time ice dance team ever?
I
know.
If
I only have one.
I know, but I think when I was skating, it was the French, Marie Louise and Gwendal Pesera.
Yes, with the red hair and the flow dresses.
Yes, that's when I was skating. And right now, as tech spec, I'd like not to comment on.
Of course.
No, don't have to. No, but they were epic for their time.
Absolutely.
Them, they were like the big thing. They were like Tessa and Scott really at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny because you're our first guest who did not say Tessa and Scott.
Well, it's good. It's good to have someone say something different.
Right? It's so refreshing because they were a really great team as well.
Sure.
That was definitely one.
Mine also isn't Scott and Tessa. So.
We've never asked us, actually.
No.
So yours is not.
No, mine is Albena Denkova and Maxime Stavisky from Bulgaria.
Oh, they were nice too.
His skating to me is magical.
Oh.
Them together, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Who's yours?
No, yeah.
Yeah, you have to choose.
I feel like I would have different categories. Like, all time is so hard.
It is.
Because I think about who do I go back and watch programs for more versus who do I think is technically the best versus who do I think is the overall best.
What makes you love ice dancing?
Who am I biased towards, because I just like them as people or former coaches or they had
You're avoiding the question.
Oh. I have to choose one?
Yeah.
I will be mad at me for saying that the team that I'm going to say then.
Okay. That's good. It's good to be
because we're not technically the strongest, but I'm going to go ahead with the French, not Marina Amasina and not Isabelle Delobel, not Gabby and Guillaume, but I'm going to go ahead and say Nathalie Pechola and Fabian Borza. Is that how you say it?
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
why?
I just love their programs. They made me want to watch ice dancing. And they're the ones that I go back and watch programs when I feel like I want to watch a skater. I mean, now, of course, we go back and we see like, ooh, that would not be a level 4 at all today. Or
it doesn't matter.
But actually, be careful when you say that, because if you start looking at Jane Torfel and Christopher Dean and you start looking at videos and lifts from those, even that time, there are level 4 lifts in that period.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, if you watch somebody like Gabby and Guillaume, you see the superior, they're so much more superior. But
that's because they had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
In the period before IGS, they didn't have to do it in that manner. So,
but there was more of an storytelling and just the magic between them.
Yes.
I just love. There's so many movements that I can come to mind when I.
And that's what Ijsdans should be about, even with all the technical rules.
Yes.
Yeah. Can I say an honorary runner-up team as well?
Yes, you may.
Oksana Grishuk and Evgeny Platov.
Okay, fine. Mine is Born and Kratz.
Would you like to say a runner-up team, Marie Louise?
Actually, I can't choose between the two teams that you just mentioned.
Right. Top level.
Who else? Maybe you'll go with Krylova and Osyanikov.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Magic. Yes.
Magic. Yeah.
Oh, but there were so many great teams, so many great stories to tell.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love I'll privately ask Marie Louise who her current favorite team is, because of course you cannot comment publicly on any teams that are currently, but my current favorite is Piper and Paul.
Oh, yeah.
I love Piper and Paul.
Yeah, she's been in the game for so long as well. Man. Yeah. I'm just going to say the Dutch teams because I feel like we need to support them and we need to...
Well, that's a given.
Yeah, it's a given.
But both of our teams are clearly the best of all time.
I have to say no comment on that.
No, of course. Any other answer would be not acceptable. All right, well.
No, I am happy that we have two teams and I hope for a good future. We have even more teams and 2 senior teams.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A full roster of from minis to basic novice, advanced, junior, senior, solo adults.
Yes. The full spectrum.
The full spectrum. Yes. Including girl and girl and boy. Non-binary.
Yeah,
all the combinations.
It's possible. Yeah.
Possible in the future.
Well, you can look at the video of Gabriella and Madison.
Yes.
Yeah, you talked about that.
Yeah, for sure. We will be exploring that also later in the podcast as well. But that is a developing topic in ice dancing for sure.
Yeah.
And there's room there as well for, I think, us to grow as a discipline in the Netherlands and see what we can do with it.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time, Marie Louise. Is there any last words or comments or questions that you have?
No, I think it's a great idea what you guys are doing, trying to promote it this way. And I hope that with everyone that's working together and all our enthusiasts together, that maybe we get a bigger, how do you say that in English, but more people involved in ice dance.
Yeah, a bigger audience, a bigger fan base. Yeah,
I think we all have the same goal. So yeah,
exactly.
All right.
Thank you so much, Marie Louise.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching and listening to us. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, please like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all of our channels on Instagram and YouTube and Spotify. And if you can, please leave a review on the platform that you're listening to us on. That would mean so much to us, and we'll see you next time.